I and my boyfriend have been in a relationship for just under 2.5 years. I was under the impression that his family liked me a lot and that my family liked him a lot as well. We got back from a family vacation just 2 days ago, and I'm feeling conflicted about it now. To get to the story, my family invited my boyfriend to come on a vacation with us for 3 days out of our home state. It wasn't anything extravagant, just a small little trip where we went hiking and sightseeing, etc. Me, my sister, my brother, and my boyfriend drove separate from my mom, dad, and grandparents. While we were driving, my boyfriend asked my siblings if they would be uncomfortable if their SOs invited them on a trip like this. My brother said that if he had only been with them for a short time, then yeah, but given our circumstances, no. Since I was the one driving, I just stayed quiet. I'll be honest, it hurt my feelings a lot, but I didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. I'm quite an overthinker. When we got to the hotel we were staying at, my boyfriend just looked like he didn't want to be there, and so I asked him if he was having fun, to which he said, "No, I really just don't want to be here." I was honestly taken aback because I didn't really know what to say. I started to tear up and just walked away. The rest of that trip was just silence between us and awkward conversations between him, my dad, and my mom, as they didn't realize anything was wrong. I didn't say anything to anyone because I didn't want to ruin the mood or cut the trip short, but when we got back home, I tried talking to him about it. He said that he was just shocked he got invited to something like this, and that his parents also thought it was weird. I just kind of stared at him for a second because I literally didn't understand what was so weird about it. I said if he didn't want to go or felt uncomfortable with going, he didn't have to, and he just kind of shrugged. I just asked him to leave my house and we would talk later because I was so shocked and hurt that he and his family would call me and my family weird, all for inviting him on a small trip with my family. I'm super close with his family, and it's not like he doesn't know any of mine. Is it really weird to invite my boyfriend of 2.5 years to a small vacation? Now for a few comments. Winter Travel 5D749. Your BF and his family sound weird. You and your family sound fun, inclusive, and thoughtful. Tinky Bird. Exactly. We invited our daughter's boyfriend on a family reunion trip with my immediate side of the family. They were 23, and we all had a great time. All kinds of pieces. Yes, when my first husband and I were dating, he passed away after 8 years of our being married. I went on every trip his family took. Beach trips 10 hours away, etc. I went with his mom and him. I went with his sister and brother-in-law, etc. We were madly in love, and everybody knew we'd be married. There was no keeping us apart from the minute we met. Where one of us was, the other was there. His family was my family, and mine was his. I think the BF and his family are strange here. I don't see the problem, and if BF thought it was weird, why did he go? Now for the small update. Hi all. I feel like it's kind of cliche to say that I didn't really expect for this to get as much attention as it did. I appreciate everyone taking the time to respond to me and let me know that I am, in fact, not crazy about this. For the update, I'm going to try to answer as many questions as possible. I have not fully gotten to sit down and talk with my boyfriend yet. We spoke briefly later last night after I had made my post about how he severely hurt my feelings with what he had said, and he apologized, but it honestly just felt forced. We haven't spoken any more about it yet. For some questions like, what culture are we from? We do not have any kind of ethnic background, and neither of our families are religious at all. We've spent the night at each other's houses, and to my knowledge, he wasn't opposed to that at all. For those of you asking if he was uncomfortable about the low-cost vacation, I have no idea. His family doesn't often take vacations, but not because they can't afford it. I just don't think they want to. For those of you asking about our communication skills, this has been an outstanding problem for the majority of our relationship. I try explaining to him that we can solve problems sooner if he's open and honest. But sometimes he just doesn't speak his mind before it's too late. And last, he is very close with his family, but he was always worried that my family didn't like him. It truly just felt like a slap in the face when he didn't want to be there, as I feel like this is a surefire way to say we like you from my family. For those wondering, I do want to save this relationship if possible. I love my boyfriend and we've been through a lot together and I don't want to let go of him. And before this mess, everything was fine. I just don't know what happened here. I'll give another update whenever me and him actually sit down and talk, but I figured I'd answer some questions while I'm here. Once again, thank you everyone. Now for a few comments. PJs are comfy. This may seem an odd question, but does he call you his girlfriend and introduce you that way to others? Have you discussed what your relationship looks like down the road and next steps? His response is so odd. I'm just wondering if it's possible you two are viewing the relationship differently. Now for the update. Hey everyone, I just got done talking with my boyfriend, and I have a lot to say. This will most likely be my last update, unless something huge happens. Mostly because I've already come to the conclusion that this has completely opened my eyes. To start, I saw many comments addressing a post I made a year ago. I'm not going to go too far into it as that post was a lot more dramatic and quite frankly embarrassing to me. But yes, it was about the same boyfriend, and it was about the same communication errors. I'll admit that I have attachment issues, which doesn't help my situation. While I'm close with my family, I don't really talk to them about relationship issues because they usually don't take it very seriously. This is just their way of lightening the mood, I guess. Other than my family, I don't have a very good support system, especially when it comes to my relationships. For those who told me to have a little more self-respect, thank you for that. But also be kind. You never know what people are going through. Quite frankly, I don't have a lot of self-respect, but for my own issues, which I'm not going to talk anymore about. For the update, I spoke to my boyfriend, and it went anything other than good. I told him once again that it hurt my feelings with what he had said during the trip and to my brother, and he said it isn't as serious as I think it is. He also said that I was dragging this out when I didn't need to, which really was an eye-opener. Considering we didn't talk about it for more than maybe 30 minutes last night, and 5 minutes the day we got home, I don't think I'm dragging it out. But, okay, I told him that he made me feel small. He said he was just shocked that he would get invited to something like that, and felt like a part of the family. I asked him why he said he didn't want to be there, and why he asked my siblings questions like that if he was feeling happy and part of the family, and he just said he messed up and said dumb stuff. He also told me that he's not worried about it and hopes I get over it soon, which I will, but not with him by my side. A lot of people told me that coming onto Reddit was a bad idea, simply because all people would tell me is that I needed to leave him, and I should have just communicated with him. However, I feel like if I had just had this conversation without the hundreds of people telling me I wasn't crazy or reading the situation wrong, I wouldn't have decided to end things. I'm grateful to all of you who took the time to post, and you are welcome to call me dumb for not nipping this when I first knew I was unhappy. It's now my time to start healing and moving on, because 500 strangers on the internet told me I deserve better, so I'm going to listen this time. Now for a few comments. New Mom 1989. A piece of advice to everyone out there in the ether. Someone who casually disregards your feelings and blows you off when you try to bring up something important to you, even if they don't think it's a big deal, is not a good partner. I'm not saying you need to break up with this person immediately, but you should understand that they are a bad partner who cares minimally about you and proceed accordingly. He also told me that he's not worried about it and hopes I get over it soon. That's how you know how little he cares about your feelings. What a weird guy. Then OP replied, "Oh, and IDK how I forgot to add this in the update, but one of the shining quotes after he told me I'm dragging this out, 'You're acting like I messed with your mom or something.' What a keeper. Glad you tried talking it out with him so that you know it isn't your fault. It's just him being a weirdo and you can let go of him without any guilt. You tried to talk about it and save the relationship. It's always good to know if it won't work out ASAP so you can move on with your life. Now for a tiny update. Hi all. I know I said my last post would be my last update unless something big happens, but I feel like after reading and responding to the comments, I've found myself becoming bitter and emotional over the situation. This is more of just a true off-my-chest sort of deal, or maybe me asking how I can repair the relationship I have with myself. When I look at your comments, my heart aches with how stupid I was for spending over 2 years with someone who didn't value me. And now I'm struggling with the fact that I actually miss him, or at least miss who I thought he was. I will not go back, but I just can't help but feel like I could have saved it if I tried more. I know that's ignorant and naive, but the breakup just happened yesterday, and now I'm feeling the aftermath. I'm not sure why these feelings are coming to me now, as I'm not sure that I'm really much lonelier outside of that relationship than I was inside of it. I just wish I had more things or more people to surround myself with. I've thought about starting to go to the gym to hopefully meet new people and get myself into a schedule to fill up the time, maybe go experience some shopping therapy. I feel like it's just going to be a couple weeks of pampering myself before I feel okay enough to move on with my life. I feel like everybody needs at least a week to be disappointed and upset about how their life is going right now, lol. Anyway, thanks for listening to my rant. This is seriously my last post, and I'm going to start focusing on myself now rather than living in this disgusting situation. Thanks again. P.S. For those wondering how my boyfriend responded to the breakup, I actually thought he would last 2 days without trying to guilt trip me with pictures and memories of us. But just 5 minutes ago, he called me and tried to get me to realize my mistake. Hopefully, he gets over it soon because he's kind of dragging it out. And to those who are going to tell me to block him, I still have a lot of his things and need to return them first. After that, I'll block him. Now for a few comments. Vitasprite. Send him a text message telling him to pick up his things on X day between times ZY. Put his stuff on your porch or in your apartment hallway. Have a friend or two with you so he can't try anything. If his things are not picked up, you drop them off at Goodwill. If he refuses to get his things, it will qualify as abandonment of his property. Complete entry. Porch or front lawn drops can get you in trouble, but having a friend run buffer is smart. Specifically, stack his stuff by the front door, but inside so he can't go picking and choosing what he wants to take. Black garbage bags are a little insulting, but forget buying moving boxes for an ex. Grand Lancets. You're mourning the loss of who you thought he was and who he could have been with you guys together in the future. That's okay. Very normal. Don't beat yourself up for giving it your all for 2 years. That wasn't a waste. You've just proven how loving and dedicated as a partner you can be. You now know what you bring to the table and how valuable it is. Happy healing and putting yourself first right now. As hard as it is in the beginning, you've made the best choice here. Am I the idiot for cutting off my friend after he got too close to my wife and kid? I have a wife that I've been with for over 10 years and married for 3. We have a 10-month-old son now. I recently met a guy who turned out to have a lot of common interests with me, both into finance, fitness, and stuff. We started hanging out more and work out together weekly in my home gym garage. Obviously, we are spending time together, and we shoot the shoot often. His situation is that he's single, a father of a 7-year-old girl, and his ex is a super witch to him. She publicly talks down to him the few times we all went out to dinner together. He still has to see her because they are co-parenting, but he's been trying to date for the past year. Anyway, we got on the topic of what he's looking for in a girl because he keeps on going on dates and they all suck according to him, and none of the girls are his type. So I ask what his type is, and he starts describing the traits of my wife. Could be a coincidence. Whenever we go to dinner, he'll be telling a story or whatever and show a picture on his phone, but only to my wife. I have to ask him to see what the picture is before he puts it away. Not that I care that much, but feels sus. Whatever. We've been hanging out more and having game night at my place with him and a few other friends. Whenever he's in the presence of my wife, he takes my son and puts him on his shoulders and plays with him in front of her. Makes weird comments, at least I think so, in front of my wife, like, "I love being a father and providing for a family. I wish I had a wife that was as good at raising kids as you," Let me know if I can help you in any way with your son. Always directed to my wife and never to me. Okay, whatever. The thing is, these comments have been setting off eye raises for me, so when I was working out with him the other day, I said, "Do you think my wife is attractive?" He said, "Oh, hell yeah, dude. Your wife is hot." I said thanks, but it raised my antenna even more. Now, the reason I'm writing this is because his most recent comment to me was, "Do you think your wife can find a girl for me at her workout class that looks like her?" This coupled with what happened the other day at dinner. We were going to dinner with him and his family that were in town. It was at a big shopping center, so we were waiting at a Starbucks for them to arrive at the restaurant. He comes to the Starbucks where we are while his family is at the restaurant. He waves and says, "We are ready." I start packing my son's bag while my wife handles the stroller. This dude grabs my son and puts him on his shoulders and starts walking out. My wife is walking out, and I'm grabbing the bag. Now I'm literally watching this guy walk next to my wife holding my child while she's pushing the stroller, and I'm trailing them. I felt I was watching a couple and their child, and I was seething and feeling displaced. Because I'm cutting this jerk off, not letting him anywhere near my wife and kid again. If we happen to see him in a social setting of 6 or less, we are leaving. Edit. Asked my wife if he ever texted her or contacted her in any way on SM or TXT. She said no. I told her just now I feel he's peacocking, and she said she doesn't get that vibe at all from him. Edit. A female friend came over tonight who mutually knows this guy. She agreed that it's strange and thinks he is crushing on my wife, intentionally or not, and told my wife to her face that. I told my wife that if another female can see it, it's obvious. My wife now says she feels embarrassed that she doesn't see it, and says it'll be awkward now because she doesn't want to think of him looking at her that way. Both her and the friend think it's best if we only see him in social settings with large groups and not at our house again. Lesson. Seems the general consensus is to trust my gut if I feel something is off, and it does. Going to talk to the wife and then tell this dude straight and then ghost him. Now for a few important comments. Commenter. Why are you still inviting this guy over? The first time he creeped on your wife should have been the last time. Speak up. He'll apologize or go away. Either way, I'd let him know his actions are not acceptable. When asked why he hasn't spoken up yet, OP said, "The thing is, he's never directly said anything flirty to her, but it's more of these weird general comments." Commenter. How does a river get through a mountain? One drop at a time. How does an affair happen? One innocent interaction at a time. You said he's very similar to you. That means he's your wife's type. We already know your wife is his type, and he's looking for a new partner, mother for his child. Damn, he's even poaching on your son. Like, what is happening? Before you know it, he's going to start bringing the family dog treats. Now for the 22-day update. Here's the update. After all the advice, thank you all, I decided to go the slow cutoff method rather than being direct. Mainly because my thinking is that if you tell someone that you're wise to their BS, that they may just try to be more covert, cover their tracks, and be sneakier with their behavior, or try to buy sympathy with mutual friends. There was a party we were invited to at his house before all this unfolded, and I told my wife we aren't going. This caused a bit of tension within our house because it got pretty heated because, while she thinks he's doing it subconsciously, she has zero interest in him, so it doesn't bother her, and she said she didn't even notice until I brought it to her attention. Needless to say, the fact that it caused an argument and drama for me was more than enough grounds for me to never have this dude around my wife and kid ever again. Anyway, because he was already introduced to all of my friends in my friend group, he invited all of them to this party. We didn't go, and a few friends asked if we were going. I explained the situation, and a few of them agreed that they saw what I saw. They said they were not going to the party. One couple did decide to go because they and he became close over the fact that they both really are into sports. The girl texted my wife and told her that they were the only couple that showed up, so really my friends are the only ones he invited. But she also said he had a girl there with him. They said the girl barely spoke English, but he said they were dating, but she was acting very odd. Now this is the part where I'm not sure if he was made aware of my discontent with him because I had already started cutting him off, not answering calls, not initiating any texts, being very curt with my responses, cool bro, etc. After this party, he randomly texts me photos of him with this girl, professing how hot she is and what a great catch she is and how they are dating. One phrase he used, which further raised my suspicions, was, "It'll be good to go on a double date so you can see I have a girl." I'm thinking to myself, why would he care about that? And what an odd thing to say. I asked how they met and he said Tinder. I asked to see the convo. He deleted the convo. He sent her Instagram photos and she has 37K followers and half her photos are of her in Dubai, London, etc. and doing lewd photo shoots. Considering he is a strip club kind of guy, this makes me think he may be paying for this companionship just to get his foot back in the door, but I could be wrong. So, all is right. I'm plenty busy with work and wife and I are fine. Son is happy as can be, and I'm going to make sure I keep the grass cut so I can see the snakes before they get to my door. Thanks everyone for the reassurances. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "Yeah, shoot's weird. Cutting him off is for the best. He got no friends but yours. No girls except sniffing after yours. No life except the gym. He's a parasite." OP responded, "This is the answer." Another commenter said, "It's a little strange that your wife was upset that you didn't want to go to the party. Even if she doesn't care that he might have eyes for her, she should care that you are bothered by the whole thing." Someone else added, "Especially after she let the friend grab her kid and put him on his shoulders so they could walk like a family while hubby is left behind lugging the kids' stuff." Another commenter said, "Yeah, I think the bigger concern is your wife's reaction." Then another person said, "I feel like people are jumping to conclusions here. Couldn't it just be super frustrating for the wife to not get to see friends, go to a party just cause of some weird dude with a crush on her? I understand that this dude is weird and shouldn't be a friend anymore, but I could see where it would feel like you can't see this guy when she did absolutely nothing wrong. Am I the idiot for buying back my childhood Bronco instead of starting a college fund for my newborn daughter? So how to begin with this? I realize that on paper, I am totally the jerk, but when you dig deeper into my motivations, I'm hoping it's more of a gray area than anything else, and maybe even I did the right thing. When I was a teenager, my dad bought me a classic 1972 Ford Bronco. It was my true passion, and I don't recall a memory from high school that somehow doesn't involve that truck. Plus, my dad and I would spend hours and hours working on it together, and we went through that especially father/son rough patch. When I was a teenager, it was always that Bronco that brought us back together. I made a huge mistake and sold the truck when I turned 19, and my dad died of a heart attack 2 months later. So while not logical, I've always felt a karmic connection between the two events. We had a baby in early February. She is our first and the light of my life. My wife is doing well, but she's back at work, and she's realized that she hates all the daycares we've tried and really wants to be a stay-at-home mom. And plus, she's still very hormonal from delivery, lack of sleep, and breastfeeding. So she's having a rough time and is angry a lot. I guess I need to say this. 2 weeks ago, I was driving through our town's warehouse district and saw a Bronco that was pretty beat up but resembled mine. I stopped just for nostalgia's sake, and the owner came out and let me take a look inside. My dad and I had glued a wheat penny under the dash as sort of security measure, so I just sort of checked, and god damned if it wasn't my Bronco. I asked him if he'd ever consider selling it. He said actually, someone was on I-25 as we spoke from Colorado to buy it for $21,000. I freaked out and asked him if I could buy it right then and there for $23,000. He said if I could come up with the cash, yes. I had been procrastinating setting up a 529, so I had $12,000 in savings that my wife's parents had given us. I maxed out my credit card to Venmo, and my mom bought down a check for $4,000, and I freaking drove away in my old car. It was like a dream come true. Like a literal dream come true. It needs a lot of work. I can't afford right now, but it's mine. Like in my driveway mine. Again. I can't even describe what a joy this is. My wife and her parents are furious with me. They feel I was deceptive, that a real man would have sacrificed anything and everything so my wife could go stay at home with his kids, and that's setting aside that they gave us the money for a college fund. My point is, my daughter is only 6 months old. We have 18 years to set up a college fund of her. But this Bronco means everything to me, and if I wouldn't have acted, it would have been gone forever. Now, it can be that same connection between me and my kids. To me, it's the literal meaning of happiness. Like I said on paper, asshole, whole story, gray area. How do you guys see it? I talked with my mom, and she is basically going to buy the Bronco from me in order to refill the college fund and pay off the credit card. The $4 will be a gift, and she's going to give me whatever I need to restore it. She's always been awesome to me, and she's rather the money be spent now than wait for me and my sister's inheritance. Sorry to get everyone so mad at me. I was thinking with my emotions and acted badly. Are the mommy bailed you out comments really necessary? I found a solution, and it's coming from me and my sister's inheritance, so it's not like I'm not paying for it on my own eventually. I couldn't figure out why I was getting so many private messages, but I guess this must be locked now. I didn't tell my wife that my mom bailed me out and lied and said I found a buyer for the Bronco. I'll figure out how to cross that bridge when I get there. But my wife was so relieved that I had come to your senses, I don't want to disappoint her. It's going to take all my lying skills to pull this one off over the next few years. Now for a few important comments. Snossage Fest, Jesus dude, yes, you're the idiot. Who spends $23K without so much as speaking to their spouse first? Jerks do. Madison Preggers. Wow, I have an almost 7-month-old, and your post literally ruined my day. You're the idiot for this line alone. She's still very hormonal from delivery, lack of sleep, and breastfeeding, so she's having a rough time and is angry a lot. Really? She's not angry because her husband is the type of person who blew a freaking college fund on a junked-out car? Wow, this one really affected me. I'm gonna leave this and try not to check back in because I'm heartbroken for your wife and daughter. Lizard Justice, you're the idiot. The backstory doesn't make you any less of a jerk. It just explains why you acted like a jerk. Beef 1020. I think the backstory makes him more of a jerk.